What's up, family? So, new polling data dropped showing President Trump as the most popular president in modern history. Legacy media and Democrats are completely losing their minds over it. And that's not all. Dems just walked themselves into a major legal disaster, completely backfiring on them. And remember, all that talking about a constitutional crisis, yeah, that's gone now. And Trump is streamlining the federal government, utilizing Doge and Elon Musk to halt major payments directly, and the courts have weighed in 100% constitutional. Also, major economic news: Trump has reinstated 25% tariffs on steel imports. Last time he did this, the establishment, freaked out. Well, he just did it again. And now you're going to expect a massive chain reaction, which we're going to get into in a minute, taking a dive into it. So we'll break it all down along with other important stories from around the country. But first, like the video if you get some vibe from this. And if you like videos like this, let me know down in the comments below. Also, if you aren't part of the family, come join the family and subscribe. And if you are, I appreciate you for rocking with me and welcome back to another video. So check out this polling data first in regards of Donald Trump.
Holy smokes. I mean, look at what the difference is between now versus 8 years ago during the first Trump term, right? This is Trump's net approval rating on February 10th. You go back to 2017, Trump was already underwater at minus 5 points on the net approval rating. That's approval minus disapproval. What a difference 8 years makes. He's on the positive side of the ledger at plus 4 points. And again, it's not just the CBS News poll. We're talking about the Gallup poll. We're talking about the Ipsos poll. We are talking about the Pew poll. All of these respective pollsters have Trump in a better position now than they did 8 years ago. The bottom line is Americans are far more likely to say they like what they're seeing now versus what they felt during Trump's first term.
Okay, so how rare is this? Are you going to show us sort of where we're at now and how rare it is that this number
So
changed?
I want you to take a look at this plus sign, right? Compare that to the negative sign. Being on the plus side of the ledger, right? In positive net approval territory, a positive net approval rating for Donald Trump. Again, whoa, 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 whoa. Entire first term, just 11 days, Donald Trump had a net positive approval rating. Compare that to the second term, just so far, every single day of Trump's second term so far, he has been on the positive side of the ledger. 21 days, all 3 weeks, that's already 10 more days than he was in his entire first term. So again, this is just another sign that Americans are far more likely to like what they're seeing in his second term than they were during his first term.
He also won the popular vote in his second term, so it stands to reason that there would be more people that would approve of some of what he's doing.
Holy
So the reality is clear. Americans are seeing results and they're backing Trump's policies. Democrats are completely thrown off by this, which is not a shocker. And every major policy issue Trump has tackled enjoys massive public support, right? So now the media is left scrambling and scraping, unsure of how to attack Donald Trump. ABC even had to ask House minority leader Hakeem Jeffries the one question no politician wants to answer: do you actually agree with Trump's policies? Because your voters do. And Jeffries, he had no answer. The panic is real. Check it out, family.
Donald Trump's favorability rating is actually higher than it ever was the first time around. Let me ask you, a recent poll by Marquette looked at several of the things that he has done or says that he is going to do, and 63% favor federal government's recognition of only two sexes. 60% favor deporting immigrants who entered the United States illegally. 60% favor expanding oil and gas production. 59% favor declaring an emergency at the southern border. Is there anything you are seeing that Trump is doing that you are in favor of, that you think is the right thing?
Let me say, as it relates to all of those issues, we're just at the beginning.
And I want to just say, look, he's saying we're just at the beginning, but the Democratic Party, this has been the worst they ever been in years. They're literally trying to hold on to any power they have. They don't have no power. So in the process, you just have to let them crash out and eventually destroy themselves, because when you do not entertain energy, they eventually eat themselves. They are their own demise. And this Democratic Party just don't get that, and they don't resonate with the American people, which is why they will continue to suffer, and why they will continue not to resonate with the American people. And the American people know that, as we are waking up and being more informed than ever, and you guys are not going to get away with your nonsensical remarks. And also, just abusing American taxpayer dollars like it's your own money, right? So for decades, it didn't matter who you voted for, Republican or Democrat, because the same establishment controlled Washington, but not no more, because Trump shattered the old Republican Party, rebuilt it from the ground up, and Democrats just walked into a major legal trap. A federal judge has ruled in favor of Trump's federal buyout plan, dealing a huge blow to Democrats and our union allies. And the court determined that the union challenging the plan had no standing, meaning their case was completely baseless. Even worse for the Dems, the judge emphasized that any attempt to block Trump's buyout plan would be foolish, because as the chief executive, he has the full authority to reduce federal payments and workforce numbers. So check this out, family.
As a federal judge in Massachusetts hands Trump a victory on his federal worker buyout plan. That judge ruling that the union challenging the Trump buyout had no standing, meaning basically that none of their workers were even involved. In addition to that, the court itself had no authority. Basically, that this is just a frivolous lawsuit put up by obstructionist Democrats waging lawfare. Boston Judge O'Toole, really looked at this and realized, without any jurisdiction, without participants actually litigating in this particular case, he would look like a fool to block President Trump's buyout.
There is no constitutional crisis, and President Trump made it clear that he'll abide by whatever court decisions come down. So there is no constitutional crisis, and moreover, Trump is likely to win on all the major issues. Trump, as the chief executive of the executive branch, has the right to go in and audit and access payments, and he has his right to have his designee do that in Elon Musk.
So the ruling also confirmed that Elon Musk's role in auditing federal agencies is entirely constitutional. And this wasn't some accidental victory. Trump baited the Democrats into filing a lawsuit, knowing full well he was acting with his legal authority. And now that the courts have sided with him, the Democrats have lost all leverage. And Trump is moving full speed ahead with slashing the size of the federal government. And the IRS, for example, is set to lay off 15,000 employees this week, as we all know, as part of the administration's effort to phase it out entirely. And unemployment in Washington, D.C. has now spiked to 36%. And this is what draining the swamp looks like, right? Trump's ultimate goal is to abolish the Internal Revenue Service and replace it with the External Revenue Service. So think back to the early 20th century, right? America being the wealthiest nation on earth, and we funded our own government through tariffs, not income tax. Check this out, right?
At the start of the 20th century, America was the richest country on earth. And we defended our workers from unfair trade policies with tariffs. And we only made money. We had no income tax. All we did is charge other countries and foreign companies, if they wanted to sell to America, you had to pay for entry. Okay, so imagine this. The U.S. government had no income tax. Americans got to keep all their hard-earned money, and foreigners paid the price. So now what's happened? We have the Internal Revenue Service. That means charge us internally. Now imagine politicians who can't even balance their own checkbook, taking our money, and what do they do every year? Let's just take more, let's just take more, let's just take more. So this is how Donald Trump is going to end it and fix it. Last week, he announced that we're going to return America to greatness by creating, and today is its birthday, the External Revenue Service.
There you have it, folks. There you have it, folks. And just to add a little bit of context, in 1862, President Lincoln signed into law a revenue raising measure, and that was to help pay for Civil War expenses. And the problem is, the American people just made it a normal thing, and it become to happen to be a normalcy because nobody have said nothing for so many years. So now income tax was never really a thing that was cemented to stay permanently, just to add the context. And it also shows when the Democratic Party always saying tax the rich, tax the rich, tax the rich. Well, the wealthy and the rich pay the most in taxes on a year-to-year basis. Every single year, there's time to file taxes. And how many average Joe Americans, individuals like myself that just work their job and get the federal government taxes to death, right? So the point that I'm making is they like to say tax the rich, but eventually the rich obviously got smarter because they have their businesses, they have their investments. So they can obviously invest more in their business, and that could be write-offs, right? Tax write-offs. And the problem is, as I have learned and also became more informed and taught myself, and the way I understand it is, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm always open to the possibility of being wrong as we have in a conversation, the rich got smarter. They learned to create businesses, which then hires average Joe Americans, which then they can use as tax write-offs. Because, for example, to debunk the Democrats talking about, oh, Elon Musk is colluding with, I say Elon Musk. Elon Musk is colluding with Donald Trump to basically enrich themselves by having access to sensitive information when it comes to Social Security and stuff like that. All that nonsense. Well, think of it like this. The rich is the one that employs the regular average Joe American. So at the end of the day, and Elon Musk is the one that created PayPal. So don't you think he been had access to sensitive information if he wanted to do something with it? But however, there is a security clearance and he has been appointed, and they will operate within the legality of things. And at the end of the day, what's wrong with it? American taxpayers and American people, we the people, have voted to want to know where our money went. And it's not a race war with this whole diversity, equity, and inclusion thing, as they're trying to spew the narrative behind that. Because at the end of the day, it's not a race war, it's a class war. And the rich got wealthy, back to what I was saying, and they got smarter. And eventually they're talking about taxing the rich. Well, the rich should just get smarter. And then if you really push them over the edge, they will take their monies and everything in other businesses to other countries and not keep it into America, where the economy could be booming, and keeping it into America to enriching the economy, and everybody win-win. It's a win-win thing. But if you call yourself taxing the rich as a way of a solution to basically handle inflation, what's going to happen is those who are wealthy with their businesses is going to flee, like I said, is going to hurt the average Joe American because then they're going to be out of jobs. And on top of it, it trickled down to hurting the middle class to poor class individuals who will be taxed as well the most and the hardest. That's just a fact. There's common sense here. So, putting it out there, I think it's a wonderful thing. We are getting back to the very thing that we did initially before we funded the war, and which was the whole purpose of income tax and being taxed in the first place. So, look, meanwhile, that is also a major economic move happening when it comes to Trump has reinstated a 25% tariff on steel imports. And that is massive because the last time he did that, as we're talking about the economy, the U.S. gained over 100,000 new steel jobs. But under pressure from special interests, exemptions were added, weakening the policy. Now Trump is bringing it back full force, reviving the U.S. manufacturing industry. And it's amazing, as you guys will see the video of Trump signing the order Sunday morning, as I'm showing you guys now, as it is now reportedly Tuesday, February 18th, the date of this video. But since we're talking about the economy, I figure I'd mention that. But I do want to get to watching MSNBC's Michael Steele absolutely melt down on live television. He's furious, ranting about how Musk has control over everything from social media to federal agencies. And the panic is undeniable because The old system is crumbling, and they know they can't stop it. Check it out.
What would you have us do?
I would actually, you know what? I'd just like you to show that you give a damn, that you got a little emotion about the fact that people are losing their jobs indiscriminately, that this individual sitting down the 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue has given absolute power to one man who brings his son into the Oval Office, whose son says to him, "You're not the president. You shouldn't be in that chair." Now, where did he get that from? He got it from his daddy, because that's what his daddy thinks of the man who brought him into the Oval Office. So I just like to see somebody wake the hell up and get excited about the fact that your country is under assault. They're not at the gate anymore. They're in your bedrooms. They're in your living rooms. They're in your businesses. They got your data, dumbass. They got all your stuff. Elon Musk has his tentacles in everything you're doing, not just off of X, but now he's in the Treasury Department. He's in the Labor Department. He's in the Department of Homeland Security. And nobody seems to give a damn. So that's all I want, somebody to show that they care enough to get off their fat ass and say something about it.
Well, why would people say something about in which we, the American people, voted for? But I just want to wrap up, and the last segment is basically Trump signing the order on Sunday morning, this past Sunday, when it came to Trump's Commerce Secretary explained that since the original tariffs were watered down, the U.S. lost 107,000 steel jobs. But now these jobs are coming back. Speaking of the economy, right? And this is about rebuilding America's industrial base, standing up for American workers, and ensure we control our own supply chains. Trump is delivering exactly what he promised. Check it out.
2018, you imposed ad valorem duties, tariffs on imports of steel at a 25% rate. Since that time, a large number of exclusions and exceptions to that tariff rule have been implemented. Because of the damage to the United States steel industry that those exceptions and exclusions have imposed, we're now, this order would reimpose that 25% ad valorem tariff rate on imports of steel, and it's presented for your signature now.
Okay. Do you understand what that means? It's a big deal. It's a big deal. This is the beginning of making America rich again. Mr. Secretary, do you have anything to say? As you know, Howard is Secretary of Commerce, doing a fantastic job. And what do you have to say about it?
So when you imposed the tariffs the first time, right, you added 120,000 jobs. And since that time, it's been picked away and nicked away and excluded away, and we've lost 107,000 jobs. And remember, these aren't just general jobs. These are steel workers in America, and now you're going to bring them back.
And shout out to Trump, man. You have to operate America, and this is a true leader, a true negotiator, operating on the behalf of the best interests of the American people. And you have to operate the country like a business. It's a business first, folks. However, this wraps up the video. And if you found any of this valuable, make sure you like, subscribe, and share, and join the family. Let the love supersede the hate, family. Spread that peace, love, and positivity always. Until next time, family. Peace.